Hi team, I hope you're all well. Today I will be doing my first recent reads video. So in last month's wrap up I did say that I have made the decision to do a recent reads video like twice a month. So at the beginning of the month you will get one from the previous month, the second half of the previous month, and then in the middle of the month you'll get one from the first half of the current month, if that makes sense. So obviously I am now doing the first half of March, and then at the beginning of April you'll get one that's got the second half of March, then the middle of April you get one that's got the first half of April. Does that make sense? So I'm just doing them every 2 weekly. So this will cover from the 1st until the 14th of March. Today is the 15th of March, so I won't include anything that I finished today because obviously I'm doing this in the morning and I don't know what I'm going to finish today. So it'll be from the 1st to the 14th of March. In that period I have read 12 books, which is pretty cool. Probably not, if I was going off the last 2 months, it's probably not as high as the last 2 months would have been had I been doing this since January. But I have been in a reading slump, a really bad one actually, for the last couple of weeks, but especially the last week or so. I've been really ill this week, and it's sucked because I have been at home, I've been isolated, I've been on my own for 3 days. I was off work from Tuesday till Thursday, and it's absolutely sucked being off work. Normally I wouldn't mind being ill because I just get a load of reading done and like some editing done and maybe a bit of filming if I'm not physically ill, but I have been so slumpy. Depression's kicked in massively with me this week, because I've been in a slump and I've been ill. So I've been off sick, I've not been reading. It's been horrendous. It's not been a good week, and everything that's been going on with the coronavirus and things, it's really getting people down and it's really affecting people, and it's obviously affecting us not just as a country but the whole world is really struggling with it. And I think a lot of people are in a stage of a lot of anxiety right now, and people who struggle with depression are really suffering a lot. So it's not been a great start to the month, but I'm hoping to move that along, hopefully. I go away next week with my dad just for a few days, Tuesday through to Saturday, so I'm really excited for the break. I'm excited for my dad to have a break from work as well. So yeah, it should be a good week next week. I don't think I'm going to get a great deal of reading done, which is awesome because because I'm with my dad. If my mum was coming as well, there's been a bit of a complication, but if my mum was coming as well, I'd get more reading done because they will probably go out and I will probably stay in and do some reading with the dog or whatever. But it's just me and my dad, so I have a massive collection of films rather than a huge collection of books that I'm taking with me. I am still taking some books and hoping that I will get some reading done. I'm taking some for him, so force him to read, which means I can read. But anyway, let's get into these 12 books. Hopefully this won't be a really long recently reads video, because I'm only telling you about 12 books, but I'm really excited to tell you about the books that I have read. So the first book that I read was Queen of Iron Darkness. Now don't get me wrong, I didn't read the whole of this in the beginning of March. I finished this on the 1st of March. I think this has not helped with my slump. So last month I read a book that really sort of turned my world upside down for a couple of weeks, and I think that's continued on into March. It had a trigger in it I didn't know I had, and it really turned my world upside down. So I think I'm still suffering from that. I am now extremely careful with what I'm picking up and avoiding certain things, which has taken quite a few books off my to-read list. Unfortunately, I'm unhauling quite a few books because that trope is in it. However, this I started reading last year in February when I got it, when I met Cassie Clare, because it is signed, personalised. But I started reading it then I put it down and I picked it back up again and started it again. Then I think I put it back down and then picked it back up again in December, so that's the last date that I have for it on Goodreads, and I have finished it the beginning. I basically, the weekend at the beginning of the month was Saturday was the last day in Feb, which I think was the 29th, and the Sunday was the 1st of March. So I basically read like 550 pages over that weekend, which I don't think has helped with my slump, because this is a big ass book. So I loved this. This is the conclusion for the Dark Artifices trilogy, and I love this. I thought it was really, really great. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I am obsessed with the Shadowhunter world. If anybody knows me, you will know that, but I am obsessed with the Shadowhunter world. I started off watching the Shadowhunter series online on Netflix, and then picked up the Mortal Instruments, because obviously that's the side of things that I know with watching the Shadowhunters. Then I went into the Dark Artifices, and now I'm making my way through the Infernal Devices. So I am obsessed. The Shadowhunters do have their own shelf, which is slowly but surely becoming literally their own shelf. I've got Holly Black on here as well, but she's going to end up being moved at some point. The more books Cassie comes out with, the less space Holly's got. So, but yeah, I really, really love this. 5 out of 5 stars. Can't really tell you what happened in it because it's the 3rd in a series. But if you are into Nephilim, half human, half angel, fighters that are fighting against demons and are friends and lovers with the downworlds, warlocks, werewolves, vampires, fae, etc., this series, all of Cassie's books will be for you, because they're all in there. So pick them up if you're interested in those. The next book I picked up was The Upside of Falling by Alex Light. This came in the Book Box Club book for February, I think, and I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. It was so cute. This is a romance following, it's been a while since I've read this. This is a fake dating romance following Becca and Brett. Becca is getting a bit of shit from her ex-best friend about the fact that she's single, blah blah blah, and she's like, I'm not single, I've got a boyfriend. Brett overhears this and he's like, yeah, I'm a boyfriend, so what? They end up coming to an agreement that they will start fake dating. I think he's doing it for the sake of his parents or something. I'm not fully sure, I can't remember now. But they end up fake dating, and obviously things move on. I love the fake dating trope. I'm obsessed with it. It's really, really good. This was just a really, really cute YA romance, and I'm obsessed with it. It was so, so good. Not very long either. Do highly recommend it. It was great. 4 out of 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed it. Then I read Twice in a Blue Moon by Christina Lauren. I was sent this by Little Brown, so thank you very much to them for sending me this over. This was my first ever Christina Lauren book, and I thought it was fantastic. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and I was reviewing this on Instagram for them. It was such a good book. We are following Sam and Tate. So Sam, as it turns out, is the daughter of a very well-known celebrity. Her dad who ended up leaving her and her mum when she was younger. She is on holiday with her grandma in London, though she's obviously from the States, and Tate is on holiday as well, but with his grandfather. They end up becoming friendly because grandma and granddad get on, and Tate and Sam get on. She ends up telling Tate exactly who she is. Now he ends up selling that story, and we end up not seeing them for a few years. Then a few years down the line, she's rolled with the story and ends up becoming a famous actress, and she's doing a job with her dad. Now when she gets to the location of where the film is being set, she finds out that the screenwriter is actually Tate. So obviously old feelings arise, and she finds out the reason why Tate did what he did, and things happen, and it was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. This is my first Christina Lauren book, so I really enjoyed it. I know there were mixed reviews on this, but I thought it was great, and I'm really looking forward to picking up more by Christina Lauren. I have a few things in the works with that, but yeah, really, really excited to continue picking up more from them. It's such a great book. Then I read Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison. This is the first book for Middle Grey Monthly this month. The second book is Sprinkle of Sorcery, which is the second in this series. I thought this was cool. I gave it 4 stars. It was really good. We're following 3 sisters who have a curse on them, and they're trying to break the curse, essentially. It was a really good story. It was very cute. I did lose it in places. I was listening to the audio, but I did lose it in places. Probably not my favourite middle grade, but it was fine. I enjoyed it. It was really, really cute. I do like the curse thing, so I'm looking forward to picking up the next one, finding out what happens next. I need to do that soon so I don't forget what happened in that one. Then I picked up The Twin by Natasha Preston. I was reading this for the Bookstagram tour from Dark Rooms Tours, so thank you to them for sending me this over. This is a thriller following twins Ivy and Iris. When they were younger, the parents divorced. One of them went with the mum, one of them went with the dad, and I think Iris lived with her mum. Yeah, Iris lived with her mum, Ivy lived with the dad, and Iris, their mum basically passes away and Iris comes to live with Ivy and the dad. And Iris, essentially, she's a little bit crazy. Like, honestly, these two are twins. I don't know if I mentioned that. She's a little bit crazy. She starts to take over Ivy's life, her friends, her boyfriend, her school, things like that. Even the dad, she starts to manipulate the dad, and she is a nutcase. This goes in a direction I was not expecting at all. It's lined up nicely for a second one, so I am hoping there will be a second one because I really enjoyed this. I ended up giving this 4 out of 5 stars. It was fantastic. If you are into, I don't usually like domestic thrillers, but I really enjoyed this because it wasn't between a husband and wife, it was between sisters, like between siblings. So I thought it was really, really good, and I really enjoyed it, and I really hope there's a second one, and I really hope I remember to get my hands on it because it was so good. I highly recommend. Also, the book is super floppy, so go get yourself one. Then I read Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I was pleasantly surprised by this. I was buddy reading it with Siobhan and it was great. Honestly, this is the first in the Grishaverse trilogy, and I honestly thought that I was going to hate this. I'm not sure why I've come to that conclusion, but I know that some people love the Grishaverse trilogy and love Six of Crows. I know that some people love the Grishaverse trilogy and hate Six of Crows. I know that quite a lot of people hate the Grishaverse trilogy but love Six of Crows duology. So I don't know. I'm hoping I'm in the realm of loving the Grishaverse trilogy and the the Grishaverse trilogy and the Six of Crows duology, because I am here for Leigh Bardugo's writing, to be perfectly honest. I enjoyed Ninth House. I gave that 4 out of 5 stars. So I've really loved this. This was 4 out of 5 stars as well. Great introduction, really into the magic system. Really into the romances as well between Alina and Mal, and then between Alina and the Darkling. I usually hate love triangles. I always hate love triangles. The only time I will not hate a love triangle is when I'm not already invested in a relationship. But I'm not mad about the love triangle in this because it started at the beginning of no relationship, if that makes sense. So there's not a pre-existing relationship. For example, P.S. I Still Love You. It really, I cannot stand the love triangle in that series. It's completely pointless. Similarly with the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. What is the point? Stop throwing in curveballs. It's annoying. I know some people love that trope. I hate it personally, but I didn't mind it in here. So yeah, it was great. 4 out of 5 stars. Highly recommend. Then I read Twilight, the graphic novel volume 1. This is super cheeseballs, but I just really wanted some nostalgia. I am struggling massively with my slump, and I saw this in the charity shop and I was like, do you know what, I'm going to get it. It's cheap. It was £1.50. So, and I read it. It was great. 4 out of 5 stars. Gave me all the nostalgia without me having to actually pick up Twilight and maybe ruin my childhood for myself. So I enjoyed it. It was really good. I am going to try and get my hands on the second one. Am I mad? Nope. It was awesome. 4 out of 5 stars. Then I reread Illuminate by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. This was awesome. I really enjoyed rereading this. Oh, pins and needles. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars first time around, 5 out of 5 stars second time around. I actually think I enjoyed it more the second time around. I am loving that this is happening quite recently. Rereading books and enjoying them even more the second time around. It's awesome. I love when that happens, but because I've already given them 5 stars, I can't give them more than that. It's happened recently with The Curse So Dark and Lonely and also Skyward. So I gave both of them 5 out of 5 stars when I first read them, and then the second time around I'd have given them 6. Would that be an option? But yeah, I love this. The second in the series, Gemina, is my absolute favourite of all of them, but I really enjoyed rereading this. It was great for while I was in a slump. It did take me longer to read it than the first time I read it because of my slump, but I really enjoyed it nonetheless. I'm excited to pick up Gemina and reread that as well. So looking forward to doing that soon, hopefully. Then I read A Long Conversation by Cassandra Clare. With my slump, I ended up re-watching the Shadowhunters series and then watching the movie. I didn't like City of Bones as much as I enjoyed the Shadowhunters series, so that was a bit of a bummer. The guy that plays Jace, the guy that plays Alec, they were not my Jace and Alec. The girl that plays Izzy, she's not my Izzy. So yeah, I wasn't too mad with the choices for Simon and Clary, to be honest. They were not too bad, but I still prefer Kat McNamara and Alberto Rosindi, I can't remember his name, for Simon and Clary in the series. So yeah, but I have been like in a huge, I really wanted to back up the Mortal Instruments and start again with City of Bones, but I've been resisting doing so because I've got a load of other books I need to read and I can't start rereading like a 6 book series that I've already read. So I've been resisting doing so, but then I came across this little novella which sort of goes into, it goes back to our Mortal Instruments characters, but I think after Lady Midnight, so partway through The Dark Artifices, and I just really loved it. It was so cute, 64 pages, it's not long at all, but I really enjoyed it. It was 5 out of 5 stars. It really sort of scratched a bit of that itch for me, so I really enjoyed it. It was very, very good indeed. Then I read All the Hidden Truths by Claire Askew. This was gifted to me by my mum and dad at Christmas. It was £2 from the Book People, an absolute bargain, and honestly it's so worth it. This is a mystery thriller type book, but absolutely shocking. This is following several different people. So basically a boy called Ryan Summers goes into his college one day and shoots and kills 13 girls. He also shoots a boy but doesn't end up killing him. Then he kills himself. Basically we get the view from the mother, so Ryan's mother, Moira Summers. We get the view from the detective who is on the case, DCI Helen Birch. She has just started on the job as a detective, promoted to detective, and this is her first day on, and this is the first job that she's working on. It's absolutely shocking. We also get the view from the first girl who was murdered, Abigail. We get the view from her parents, Ishbel and Aidan. So there are a lot of views going on in here, but they're all very, very clear, and it's absolutely shocking what happens in this. The last chapter is mortifying, honestly, because it just wraps it up in such a way that this could have all been avoided. Do you know what I mean? It's really, really shocking. And to think that this has happened in Scotland before, because this is set in Edinburgh, to think that this has happened in Scotland before in Dunblane. I know it was a primary school, but wherever it is, it's shocking no matter whether it's a primary school, a high school, a college, a uni, whatever. It's shocking no matter what happens. But this happens regularly in the States, and it's just awful to think that this is something that is happening quite often. So yeah, quite shocking. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. Very, very good book, and I highly recommend picking it up if you are into your detective thriller type books. Really, really good. This is the first in a series. The second one is out. The series is the DCI Birch series. Then I finished The Fifth Horseman by James Patterson. This is the 5th in the Women's Murder Club series. I'm buddy reading this series with Siobhan. I really enjoyed it. Can't tell you what happened because it's the 5th in a series, but I recommend picking this up again if you're into your detective thriller type books. It's a really good series and I really enjoyed it. And then I read, last night I finished a book called Top Secret by Serena Bowen and Elle Kennedy. I am reading this for a different type of video, but I really enjoyed this. So this is following 2 lads, Luke and Keaton, and basically Keaton has a girlfriend called Annika, and she, for her 21st birthday, wants to have a threesome. She asked Keaton to try and set something up, see if he can find another guy so that they can have a threesome. Keaton gets on a dating app and finds another guy to have this threesome with. When it finally comes down to it, Keaton actually starts sexting with this guy, and he doesn't realise that his sexuality is questioned. So this guy basically does this regularly. He's on this app all the time, whether he's hooking up with just girls or whether he's hooking up with just guys or whether he's hooking up with a threesome. He does this regularly. He's openly bi, but Keaton is obviously struggling with his sexuality in this book. It's a very good story of him finding his sexuality and figuring out exactly what and who he is. And I just really enjoyed the direction this book took. I didn't think I would be into a male smut romance like this, but it was so good. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed reading about Keaton's story about trying to find himself and figure out exactly who he is, and struggling with, you know, all of that, trying to figure all of that out. Also Luke's story with his background and other things like that. So it was just a really good book and I really enjoyed it. I ended up giving it 5 out of 5 stars. It was fantastic. It's on Kindle Unlimited. It's been recommended to me by a friend and it was awesome. I wouldn't normally read something like that, but it was so good. So yeah, those are the 12 books that I've read in the first part of March, and to be fair, from what I've read, I had a really good reading month, just not as much as what I would normally probably read. But alas, it was great and I have enjoyed the books that I've been reading. So I'm hoping that the second half of March goes just as well, but we will see. I hope you have enjoyed the way that I've done this video this time around. Please leave me some comments down below and let me know, because I really want to know if you prefer me to do it this way, because I hate doing my wrap-ups because I read so many books and there's a lot and it's a lot of talking and it takes me so long to edit and I can't stand it. So this essentially is coming up for 24 minutes and I've just got to edit that one clip. Do you know what I mean? So normally I end up with about 4 or 5 clips of 25 minutes and it takes forever. So I hope you have enjoyed this. Please give it a like if you have. I would really appreciate it. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Again, I would really appreciate it. And I will see you next time. Bye for now.